trying to do like the finger thing, but no.
All right. Full spoilers for Pixar's newest film, Lightyear. We are back in theaters for a Pixar. You've been warned. What do we think about this one?
Anyone? Okay, cool. I'll go first. I really liked this film. I had an absolute blast. The more I sit on it, the more I love it. Really, my biggest critique is that there are some parts of the movie where it just felt a little awkward in some line deliveries. But other than that, it looks absolutely stunning. I thought it was a really good sci-fi film, and I had fun. I had an absolute blast with this movie.
I'll go next. I think there are a lot of really great elements in this movie that I really like. When I look at it as a whole, I think it's good. I think it's a good movie. It's definitely not top 10 Pixar. Maybe not top 15 Pixar. I don't know how many movies I made, actually. That's not true.
26. We just had a 25 film discussion.
You're right. Absolutely. This is in the middle. Absolutely. This is a middle Pixar movie for me. Absolutely. I didn't hate watching it whatsoever, but especially after turning red, I was like, man, this just feels like a movie I'm watching half the time, which kind of bummed me out, to be honest. But I enjoyed it.
Sparks.
Yeah, I had a really good time. I definitely had ramped down my expectations a while back because I was getting too hype and I knew it. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to be upset. So I pulled it back, and it's not everything I think I would have envisioned the Lightyear film to be, but I'm still pretty darn pleased with it. We'll get into the minutia of it, but I really like the space ranger venture feel of it, and I really think that it executes on the story it's telling well. Yeah.
I think I fall with you, Sparks. I pretty much echo everything you said. I really enjoyed this one. I had a good time with it. Not as grand as I would like a Lightyear film to be, as I kind of always envisioned what something like that would be. But I was happy with it. I totally watch another one, honestly. They wanted to make a sequel. All right, so why don't we dive in? What do we want to start?
I don't know. I'm definitely the lowest on this movie, so you guys start.
All right. What we've talked about this before, and I'll extrapolate on this again. But what I love about Pixar films and Pixar trailers specifically is that they never fully tip their hand on what the film is about. Because with the trailer, especially the second trailer, it felt like, oh, Buzz goes back to his 60-some years in the future, and it's like from the now to the then to the future.
Right.
But the fact that Pixar decides like, no, this is him constantly, they're trying to test out to see what's the right mixture. I love that. And you see Hawthorne age. You see her go through her lives. You see her engagement, her wedding, her son's graduation, all of that. And I could have swore in my theater there was a few people sniffling when she was giving the last hologram message to Buzz, and you see little baby Izzy.
It was us.
It was us.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the theater. It was us.
No wonder.
I think that that decision is my favorite decision about the whole film. Yeah. Is the narrative choice that this is Buzz making a choice to do these 4 years and not weighing the cost on himself, and punishing in essence punishing himself for a perceived mistake. And costing himself life, like life with people he cares about. And that felt so much more rich than what I thought we were going to get out of the time jump from what we got in the trailer. So to your point, Ben, I think that was I'm so glad I didn't know about that. Yeah. Because in the moment of watching it, I'm like, oh, Buzz, what are you doing, bud? Oh, buddy. Ooh, here you go.
I talked last week about the Buzz Lightyear little mini documentary on Disney Plus. A reason why I felt like it would be best for you guys to watch that after is because it tells you that story beat that he's been jumping 4 years.
Oh, that's awful.
I knew that going in, but it didn't impact my enjoyment of that. I still think it's one of the best things that the movie incorporates. I really liked what that meant for Buzz, what that does for the story, and how you see all the place just expand over time. I quite like that.
I love how how it does expand. I love how of how the base grows, of how like the turnip is the main building, but then you got all these other buildings popping up, and even I know we're jumping ahead to the end of the film here, but when they blast off and you see a much more greener planet, a much more tamed and maybe not tamed, but more agricultural. There's like a more lush green fields, like farms that are growing there, and it's like, so they really are okay with making this planet their home, and I kind of dig that.
And that's the thing of like, that's Buzz's punishment, right? Everyone is living their life and realizing like, oh, actually we've got a life here, and I wouldn't want to lose this. I wouldn't want to trade what we got. And he never understood that because he keeps jumping 4 years.
Right. And Buzz is the only one who truly feels like being on this planet has become a mistake.
Yeah.
And other people have accepted it, and Buzz refuses to accept it. I think what's really good about Lightyear is that they do a great job of extrapolating backwards from the toy to create the character that would have made that toy. Because up until the moment when Buzz sees the toy commercial in Toy Story, there's a lot of connection between that character and this character. They're both so stubborn, so overconfident, so locked into their own sense of mission and what they need to do, that I think they do a great job of expanding on that character. And then it doesn't feel wrong to me that Buzz would need to be hit over the head with the lesson, right? For most people, it would be enough when Hawthorne passes away for him to be like, okay, I have gone off the rails with this.
Yeah.
But Buzz has to literally be faced with himself going off the rails with it to recognize, oh, oops.
Yeah.
And I think that's very good. And I think to that point, I think that was a great way to play the anticipated, like, it was one of the things I was really curious how they were going to handle it, because Zurg being Buzz's father is a Toy Story 2 joke to Star Wars that doesn't actually like mean anything more than that. It's just a fun reference to Star Wars. Toy Story is full of references to Star Wars. And it's one of those. And I'm glad they didn't stay married to that concept, but I am glad that they tricked the audience with it. So when he first appears and he says, Dad, you're like, oh, dang, they're really doing that. And then it's like, nope, way more complex than that.
Is it that more complex, though?
More complex for the character. I'm not going to say like a complex storyline.
Okay.
But it's a more, but to that point, it is a more complex, character confrontation in this than in the sense of like, this is Luke when he slashes the mask and it's Vader's instead of Vader's face, it's Luke's. This is going directly for that. This is going for the heart of that completely, and having him have to be like, I see that I have gone completely into this rather than like using the parallel of the father. And I think that makes it a deeper character analysis that Buzz has to create for himself.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. Going into that moment, I really actually enjoyed that, how they kind of twisted it. Because when he says Dad, I'm like, part of me was like, oh no, they're actually doing the joke. Because once again, like Sparks said, Toy Story is full of jokes and references just for jokes and reference sake. And I was like, oh shit, is that actually a thing? And then the fact that it's an older version of him, I'm like, oh, we're really going into this like time travel thing. Okay, I can dig it.
I always really like that trope. Older, screwed up version of you meets younger, different path version of you. So immediately I've got a bias for that sort of plotline. It's honestly the only reason why I like the Lost in Space movie, which is awful. But I really like how that creates a situation where you really see why, and almost like James Brolin, Buzz Lightyear almost accidentally made this version of Buzz Lightyear, right? Because he went back in time. So he's seeing this other character when he says like, well, what about Izzy? And the older guy goes, who's Izzy? Really like seeing the two different, it's such an effective, simple moment to differentiate the two paths that they went on.
I absolutely agree. It is also a trope I love. My problem with it from the devil's advocate perspective, is the execution of it, because we are the mystery of for a long time, like, what is Zurg, who is Zurg, right? And I think some of it might be coming down to is like, we discovered this information in 1995, but like Zurg is like this random enemy for the next 30 years for Buzz. So that's for me, it's a little issue, that it's Buzz Lightyear as Zurg, right? Buzz just goes to the future and finds a Zurg mech suit randomly.
Yeah,
that pisses me off. You're telling me the origin story of Zurg from all of this is, oh, I found the ship. There's no logic. There's no. You're just supposed to not think about it. Just don't think about it. Don't think about it too hard. And unfortunately, I'm a thinker. I like to think about movies. I'm not saying you guys did. That's right. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just like the logic is not there for me. It felt like a twist for just being a twist for me. Mm-hmm. And I love the idea. They could have done the same thing, but like, show me your dark descent into madness. Show me all of that. Don't show me I found the ship and I came back. Like, that's that I had a problem with it real hard, and I like his performance and everything. Like the situation itself, I like. How we get there, I think it's lazy as shit.
I think you've got.
I won't disagree with that point real quick. I won't disagree with finding the Zurg suit. I do think is lazy.
I won't disagree either. There's the other thing of like, you say like show that a slow descent into madness. You're right. Like there's another version because he says it in dialogue. You know,
show me, don't tell me.
Why are you so old if you went back? Well, it's because it wasn't an exact science. And this is the furthest point I've been able to get to, because he was centuries in the future. Yeah. He says. So coming back, he had to come back incrementally, which caused him to age. I think that's pretty cool. That I think you could have done visually with the narration, even if you wanted to keep the narration, that could have been pretty effective. Honestly.
Absolutely. Show the thing that Buzz was doing earlier, but show instead of it like him doing it happy mission, he's okay doing the mission, he's getting worse and worse every time it happens to him. So you see how he gets there. Because like we're just supposed to accept this is evil Buzz, but because we know Buzz Lightyear, that's just like, we don't have to think about it any harder. And I'm like, the stuff you talked about, Sparks, of like how he is different from Buzz, I do like. But again, like how we get there, I'm just like, there's like no real effort. There's no effort. He literally walks into a ship in the future. A Zurg suit opens up. I expected him to fight a Zurg, to be taken over by a Zurg. Like I expected more, because again, this is his Darth Vader, and I'm just like, this is what you gave us.
I don't disagree with the origin of the Zurg outfit and all that being very lazy. I think that's valid. I think that's totally fair. What I do think is that I find the character of Buzz up to that point, right? The fraction point between them in time is not the best dude, right? Yeah. Like I can believe that without the optics that push him specifically, like if we want to be simplistic, it's Izzy, right? The existence of Izzy is what changes Buzz's mind. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he's all for, sure, go back. Let's just make it so I never screw up. Yeah, he is so selfish. He is so selfish and egotistical that he would easily, without the evidence to push him in another direction, go down that path. I do believe that if he pushed himself, all the way to the end of the universe in the future, and was convinced of that. Like, I think that works. I think that Buzz up to that point, as he's presented to us in the film, our main character feels like he's riding that edge of he could go down a really shitty path or he could go down a good path. And which one is he going to do? And for me, that works. That I don't think James Brolin's future Buzz necessarily needed much of a big push to be an asshole. And I really like that Izzy is at the center of that, that change in Buzz's mind. For a lot of reasons. I like it because of the relationship that's developed between them in the film. But a really great thing that I really wanted to spotlight about it is that, there's all the talk about the same-sex kiss scene in Lightyear. And that is in general, like we kind of talk about that as like a small accomplishment, like it's a small thing. They got to put it back in. It was going to be taken out of the movie, but they got to put it back in, and yay, it's there. And good. We get some same-sex representation. But what's all the more valuable is what Pixar did so sneakily is that not only is it present, it is marked as important by our main character, because essentially what he comes down to is, I can't go and do what the villain is saying to go back in time and undo my mistake, because I would wipe away that same-sex relationship. That is too important to erase. I think subtextually that's awesome.
This is the most progressive movie of the 90s.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Another, because we've been really positive, and I got to be me real quick. You're telling me this movie came out in 1995, and socks didn't become a household item for everyone to buy?
Yeah.
If you're gonna do the dumb thing of this is a real movie in 1995 and Andy saw it, this is a toy, you can't put other better, cooler shit that we know would be popular. Like that's it. Like it would have been cool if like we saw socks in like the background of a movie and like nobody remembered. It's like, oh my god, it's that thing. Like, but here's the big marketing push of this movie, and of course it only exists in our world, not in the toy world. And it's like it's just a little attention to detail thing. I'm like, okay, that's socks rules. By the way, I love socks.
Oh no,
socks is great.
No, I got no complaint about the character
of the movie.
It's just one of those. It's just one of the things where like they had the picture of Andy with all the toys at the theater. I'm like, wait, why are the Claw guys at this theater watching this? And I'm like, I can't think about this. It's a road I can't go down.
I bought you 5 minutes.
I bought you 5 minutes. Yeah.
Socks is great, and I was kind of into socks for a lot. Like in the beginning, we see so little of it. I was like, oh, okay, so we're probably not getting a lot of it. It's when he's like, oh, by the way, I figured this out. I figured out Lightspeed. It only took me 76 years. And then I was like, okay, he's pretty cool. He's pretty helpful. And then I bought you 5 minutes.
my favorite part of that bit is Buzz being like, wait, was that for me? In case I got out of the line, I bought you 5 minutes.
That's probably the hardest I laughed in the movie.
Yeah, that was real good.
It was very unexpected. I loved it.
It was also such a great callback when older Socks does the same thing to older Buzz.
Oh yeah, I bought you 5 minutes.
Yeah, like when at first I thought Socks was just gonna be like this plucky little cat who was like, okay, yeah, he's cute, he's adorable. I see him on the marketing. Now after this movie, it's like I am totally fine with going to the store and buying a Socks toy.
You know what I thought was very funny also when he did Lightspeed and he's landing. The confetti comes out of his console.
But also like the. That was a great funny. That was a great 90s reference. What else was that?
No. That's stay. Don't move off of the point because I really want to talk about the technology in the movie. How they visualize the technology is very of the time. It's very 90s with like the small screens with the green screen with all the big buttons and I thought that was very was a very nice touch. Even like Buzz's like even like the Space Ranger, the proto Space Ranger suit, the one that we thought was the original, but that's at the end. Looks very 90s, very retro future, something you would see in like Alien. I thought that was very cool and a very nice touch.
Yeah, I think I have no problems with the movie at all visually. I think it looks great. I think all like the foliage and like the alien creatures look great. I love the way that their camouflage activates. It's very like old school Dune, but like the big blockies things happen.
I saw that too. Yeah, very Dune.
Yeah.
I thought as we were getting through it that I'm like kind of bummed that like his outfit doesn't look like, Buzz's outfit.
Give it time.
The jetpack isn't there, the laser isn't there. But what I liked is that as the adventure goes, like he utilizes those things and goes, you know what, we should make these standard issue. These are things all Space Rangers should have.
Because if you notice, there's an interesting thing happening throughout the movie. He loses every single weapon.
Yep.
Except for the wrist gun.
Yeah.
So like he's like, yeah, these guns don't work. This sword thing doesn't work. We got to get this thing.
Yeah.
There's the old lady character who can put anything together to make it explode, and they don't utilize that enough, in my opinion. They do it once at the end, and I'm like, that was her whole thing. There were so many opportunities where she could have MacGyvered her way out of there. I thought that was just again like,
sure,
could have been used more. Like if you're gonna introduce that element of a character and not use it until the very very end, I'm like, okay, that's cool, I guess.
I thought Taika's performance was pretty subdued, considering.
I'll be honest. Taika, when he's not in movies he's directing, I'm like, fine on. He's fine in this movie. He's fine. Yeah.
I did like that the old lady, every time she gets, like hands on a weapon, it's always like it's getting progressively bigger and bigger weapons, and she's like, this is definitely violating my parole.
that is good. Why'd you get arrested? I stole a ship. Well, everyone got it.
Well, actually, you know what? I thought that once too.
I get that.
When Zurg, by the way, Giacchino's score. I really like Giacchino's score in this. His Zurg theme that plays when Zurg is like chasing Buzz, and like the big like operatic orchestra happening is awesome.
I agree.
And Zurg has this moment where he like beckons Buzz over. I thought it was going to be the rookie from the beginning of the movie.
So did I. I was like,
is it Feather
Hammerstein? Feather Hammerstein, yeah.
Yeah, is it going to be that guy? He lived 100 years as a robot.
I think honestly, like my favorite scene in the movie is when the yellow Zergbot comes to attack them, and like Buzz is trying to fight him, and Taika Waititi's trying to throw shit. It's not working, and everyone is sucks. And he's like, "Wait, y'all aren't Space Rangers, are you?"
Yeah.
I was like, that's a fun scene. I think the strength of the Space Rangers is incredible. They're able to not only twist parts off of robots, but also giant intergalactic ships. They can just twist screws off, because screws are definitely not hard to pull off. I thought that was a fun little touch. I'm like, wow, they got strong fingers. Good for them. Wow.
It's the gravity.
It's the gravity. You're right.
Yeah, it's a denser gravity on this planet.
It makes you so strong.
Yeah, definitely. I think the guy reminds me of the guy who replaces what's his partner's name? Hawthorne.
Alicia Hawthorne, yeah.
The guy who replaces her reminds me of another character in a similar position that I can't recall, but he has one of my favorite bits in the movie, which is actually post credits, when he just goes laser shield.
That was pretty fun.
Reliant on
that was
too
very
much.
funny.
Very reliant on the laser shield.
Yeah,
it's just like, because he's doing you know what he reminds me of? The way he does the laser shield thing, I remember it in my head as very similar to the old man from Atlantis.
The Lost Empire?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been
I don't
too
know
long.
why.
Sure.
Well, it has been too long.
Yeah, I think visually the film is a treat. It's like I enjoyed just watching the Space Ranger adventure. I do think like the lesson for Buzz is really, really heavy-handed. Like you see it coming at all times. Like you just watch him going down the wrong. But I also think that's like the point, is that Buzz is
he's too stubborn to realize it.
Yeah, way too in his own shit to get it, and he needs to like really have it hammered at him over and over again.
So I was starting to get a little annoyed, because like I was like Buzz sucks. Like that's the thing. Like he sucks until he gets better. Like that's the thing in the movie, in Toy Story and in this, right? So the point when they're in the cone shields,
yeah,
and Buzz is like, if I join you, I can't save you. And they're like, Buzz, we don't need you to save you. We need you to join us.
Yes.
And that's the moment where he's like, oh, all right. Like I was like, that's good. That's a good scene.
Yeah, I agree. I like those cones. I thought that was a cool idea.
Yeah,
the way they visualize that, and I think
like
they do
physical.
that. I think they do that in good increments, just like constantly challenging Buzz to get him to recognize like the problem is that you don't believe that anyone can help you.
Mm-hmm.
When he feels like he fails when they lose the hyperspeed fuel, and he's got this moment where he thinks that all is lost, like he will never be able to save everyone. And he even says something along those lines, still refusing to believe that people could be happy there now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so long that the people who you were trying to save in the first place are dead.
Yeah.
Everyone there is at least second generation person who lived on that planet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they like thread a very real line of that, right? Like there is still an amount of sadness, and like even on Hawthorne, like she's like, she had a good life, she's happy. She did still want to be a Space Ranger again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't feel the same way as Buzz did, where like that's the only way I'll matter.
Yeah.
Which is what Buzz feels, but she did want that. Like that's not absent. It didn't just like go away. And I do like that's still there too with her character. But I do think like they do a great job. God, that time jump montage sequence is very good, just to illustrate Buzz's fixation and how he's just totally missing the point of what's going on around him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really do like that montage, because you just kind of see everyone around him change, and he's so stubborn. He doesn't notice that people are getting older. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm gonna do this, and we're all gonna get off. He can't. Even at the end, I still think he's still trying to believe he can save his partner. He can save Hawthorne.
Right. It's very Maverick. It's very Maverick in the way that, like, by no mistake, I'm sure that there's a lot of inspiration there. It's very much that in the way that he's so about the mission, because there is a good heart within Buzz of, I'm doing this to help others. Yeah. I'm trying to make life better for other people. But there's an obsession, an unhealthy obsession with being the person who fixes it and being fixated on doing that I think creates like both like the rich development of our main Buzz throughout the storyline, but also makes it possible to believe in the older alternate future Buzz.
Yeah.
His existence anyway.
I wish that they had explained how Lightspeed worked prior to the time dilation, because it's a surprise when he comes back. There's like, hey, time dilation happened. Like, oh, what? Like, they didn't expect it, and they were traveling Lightspeed in the beginning of the movie. So I wish that they had given us like a point of reference of where where we were in the beginning of the movie. Was there time dilation happening? Was there not? How did they figure that out?
And I'll be honest.
Here,
one of my biggest problems with the movie is the fixation on the plot of the fuel. Mm-hmm. One of my, honestly, like when it happened in the movie, I was like, oh yeah. So can you guys tell me what socks is? Is socks something that you can give to everyone? Is it a super sophisticated thing that only one person is allowed to get? Like I
got the impression that it was built by Hawthorne.
Okay.
For Buzz.
Okay, so there's no other socks in existence, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a first question to help my other question. They spend 60 years trying to figure out this formula, and then the cat is able to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And all it is 4 numbers. It's like, it's a ratio. It's like 22, 10, 30, like, and then it gets destroyed. He's like, oh, the formula's gone. You're telling me a super sophisticated AI cat can't remember what that formula he's been working on is? He's a computer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Also, my other problem with the space stuff, they focus so hard on this exact thing. It has to be this fuel. There's a giant spaceship up there that has intergalactic travel. Why don't they just use that ship when they try to kill Zerg? Like, that's a ship that's fully operational, has technology from the future that can help them way more than a tiny shuttle that might work. Like, they had a completely other opportunity to, they just really wanted it to be, a Buzz Lightyear Star Command ship thing. When I was like, you guys got a perfectly good working ship up there. They're like, when they got sent up to space, I thought that was going to be it. Like, oh, we're going to use this ship to escape. But they just go right back down after. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah. They need I get the impression that they were able to remake the fuel because at the end they're
I just assume Socks still would know the formula.
Yeah, because they like put new formula into the box ship that they designed. So I just assume Socks didn't forget the formula when he lost the thing.
But he freaked out. He went, "Oh no, the formula! Like, it's lost."
Oh well, I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Okay, no, I mean this is not me like attacking you. That's me like, yes, the plot, it's not as thought out as I wish it was for me. Yeah,
I see.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's more to add tension for like. I think that's more to add tension because like they can't leave that behind for them now because where Buzz and Socks are going, like they don't know where they're going to end up or if it'll succeed.
But he's always had the formula. He's always had the formula though, and he only recites it when they need it at the end of the movie. Is what I mean.
Right? No, I'm saying like the reason he freaks out because the device gets destroyed is I think they were going to leave the device for the people still there in case they fail.
Oh sure, I guess.
Or like
I didn't personally get that intention. They could have also like said it like, oh no, the people. But like that's a good point. Yeah.
I really liked the message that Socks had corrupted in his file from Hawthorne that he plays. That does a cool little slight reference to the "Help Me Obi-Wan Kenobi" bit when it glitches.
Yeah.
That was a sweet speech. The Infinity and Beyond stuff got me a lot more emotional than I thought it would. Specifically at the end when Izzy says it and they do the thing. That was very cute. I really like that.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think the visualization of those new suits too. I think that rules.
I do too. I like Izzy a lot. I'll be honest. Like if Izzy wasn't as strong, I'd probably be more down because like the other two characters, like they were just fine to me. And there was also like a third robot that just totally gets left behind, which is sad.
Oh yeah, Derek.
Derek.
Realistically, like, you don't totally need the old lady in Taika Waititi's character.
Mhm.
Like, I
No.
mean, like, you could have told a story that just relies on like Buzz just being able to trust in Izzy. But I do think it is valuable for Buzz to recognize the value in trusting even in people that he sees as screw ups, because he wouldn't necessarily see Izzy that way, but he definitely sees the other two that way.
Absolutely, yeah.
So like for the lesson you're going for, like I think that is valuable. I will say that like their characters are very like they're shallow. You know what their trope is, and that's what they are.
Yeah.
They have their characteristic, and that's their whole personality.
It's just generally in Pixar movies, the side characters are really great, and I just found them to be just totally there. They're cool.
The food that they consume is funny. I especially like the bit when they're talking about how they make sandwiches 100 years in the future.
That's how a sandwich should be.
Meat, bread, meat. And everyone's like, what are you talking? Bread, meat, bread. That's too much bread.
Once I saw this movie, I'm like, I got to start a petition, y'all. There's too much bread.
He's like, but it's so juicy. He's like, that's the best part. Juicy fingers.
Juicy fingers.
Yeah, I like this movie quite a bit. I really like Socks. I was surprised how much I like Socks.
Yeah.
I almost thought a Bing Bong was going to happen when he was left in space, and then that movie would have made me cry, and then they didn't do it.
Yeah.
So,
if he drifted away, I would have been like, holy shit.
See, that's what I wanted this movie to have. It's happening a lot. Like, I don't need death in movies, but like the emotional highs for me were at the beginning when Hawthorne does the hologram finger. That definitely got to me. And then past that, the highs of the emotions were not high for me. Not very high until the very end of the movie. So to add a little more drama, although the scene itself of Izzy in space, breathtaking. Love it. Yeah. I thought it was harrowing. Love it.
With her astrophobia.
Yeah, I love that.
And Socks is like, exactly. It's the most direct path. There's nothing in your way. No.
Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm glad it is, like, we did see Nega Socks die, which was sad.
So when Socks is in the helmet and he's just like, no, but this isn't working. What do we do then? How about this? Yeah. You just see Socks floating in the air.
He coughs off a hairball, but it's a torch.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Everything
when he turns the laser eyes on. I'm gonna get you.
Ooh,
I'm gonna get you. Socks. Oh, I'm sorry.
He starts getting pet by Izzy and is like, "Do you like that?" And he's like, "I do."
Why is he making that noise? Don't break my cat.
Yeah. Socks definitely from the trailers. I was like, oh, I really hope it's not one of those characters, but it ended up being so much better. Like, definitely MVP.
Yeah, being one of the best characters in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else we want to add? Do we want to rate?
None of the Toy Story references bother me.
Nope.
The lines that are Buzz now quoting this movie is supposed to be the logic, but like the reverse version of that, I really love that they really focus on him saying blast.
They say it a lot. He says a lot.
Yeah, no, it's great because that's like that is Buzz's curse word, and he doesn't do it as much post Toy Story in those films. But like the fact that it's a frequent point here, I think Chris Evans is great.
Oh yeah,
I think he just delivers a great performance. I like him as Lightyear a lot. I think he found a good way to have the voice of Buzz, but also make it more.
What was the name of old Buzz again? The guy who plays her, what's his name?
James Brolin.
I'll be honest. For this movie, I thought it would have been cool if Tim Allen was the old Buzz, because he's 70.
Sure.
I think that would have been incredible and like a fun Easter egg, and to be like, this is who I become. I'm actually a conservative and racist. I'm like, no, Buzz. I think that would have honestly elevated the movie a little bit, because I'm like, this is who I become. Tim Allen.
I'm not gonna knock it. That probably would have been a pretty neat choice.
Yeah,
I think in a world where Tim Allen hasn't said some things that Tim Allen has said, I think that would have happened.
Absolutely, yeah. He still
has a better sense of humor.
Got a Disney Plus show coming out. They don't care.
Yeah.
Well, Pixar probably was like
Pixar.
I visually, I love the cute reference to Buzz's first appearance in Toy Story when he puts the Space Ranger suit back on again in front of Socks, and it does the Socks is in Woody's position, comes up from the legs, comes up to the suit. I thought that was cute.
They do the when they're in the helmet point of view, we see the helmet reflection.
Mm-hmm.
like in Toy Story.
Yeah, no,
I thought they were all handled very well.
Yeah, I was gonna say all the Toy Story quotes, or we know from Toy Story, they were all very organic. Not a single one felt out of place. Even when he yells, "Not today, Zurg," I was like, "That's organic. That worked."
Or I always go back to like the one where it's like, Buzz Lightyear to Star Command. Come in, Star Command. Why don't they answer?
Mm-hmm.
Very much like Tim Allen.
They call you Zurg. Why do they call you Zurg? Because they can't say Buzz. Guys, what's going on there? Where does that come from? What's happening there?
They can only say Z, I guess.
Like any actual answers, because like I'm just like his name's Zurg, so he's got to be Zurg. There's no real reason. I'm like, okay, whatever. No answer. Okay.
Anyone got an answer?
Well, I mean, like I like what bullshit would I make up? Like they wrote.
Well, no,
it.
I was actually like I wanted to know if there was like something I missed but it's just okay. I'm just making sure. Like yeah, the Buzz the idea is so good, and when I saw it happening, I was like, oh, this is awesome. But then it was just like they did nothing with it, and I'm like, okay, that's a bummer. That's me.
I was gonna say something. I can't recall.
I think that like the movie like zigs away from evil Emperor Zurg representation. That's more like what the next thing would be, right? Like it's all the setup of him becoming that figure.
Sure.
And I there's a part of me that wishes that Zurg was anomalous from an old Buzz. Like I still want the old Buzz story. I think that's a good story point. I think that fact is very good. There's a part of me that wishes that was a separate element from the fact that Zurg is there.
I wish he was like he could even been like working for Zurg and not knowing he was evil and like he's gonna help me change the past or whatever. Like
sure,
something like that. Like he could still be wearing a Zurg suit too. Like and that makes sense. Just him being the Zurg. Like it's like I have to go back in all of Toy Story and be like, wow, that's evil Buzz. And I'm like, for me, I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I wonder if that Zurg toy's from the sequel. From Lightyear 2.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like he becomes evil Emperor Zurg. Like that's the whole setup, right? Like where what context we have of Buzz with his ship, with his look for Toy Story is where the movie ends off. So whatever the future is, that's what they're marketing to with the toy that they make of Buzz for Toy Story. I kind of wish that those two things had been separate. Like I didn't need Zurg to be. I guess that's the main thing. Is like I didn't want Zurg to be his dad. I didn't want them to chase that road because I'm like that's just not gonna feel genuine. But I also didn't need Zurg to be anybody.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he's like evil intergalactic emperor. Like that's all I need him to be in a way. I guess,
Yeah, but I don't mind it too much outside of like what we've talked about, like the laziness of how he gets the technology and things like that. The arc of like this Buzz who took that one step too far that our Buzz is riding the line of taking, I think is still a good plot point.
Yeah,
I think another thing that I would have liked to see in this movie is a little bit more explanation of what Star Command is, because there's no because they say at the end of the film it's like we're going to be Star Command Galactic Division, which I think is actually a sly setup for the animated show, because that's I'm pretty sure that's what that was.
Star Command.
Yeah, Star Command. Well, because they're in Star Command.
No, I mean the show was called Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
And like slyly setting up a potential, like obviously they want to make that show again, but like that's kind of like the idea of in universe they came up with that show idea. I kind of wish that we had more of a like what was like if they weren't Deep Space Rangers, what were they? I would have liked to have seen more exploration of that.
I honestly got more of like Star Trek vibes. Like they're like explorers more than they're like Green Lanterns, you know what I mean? Like galactic policemen. Like I didn't get the sense they were policemen in this.
They seem to have a known destination, but along the way they're charting any habitable planet. Habitable planet on the way, because that's the whole thing is they have a course, and then there's this planet that might be habitable. so they have to go check it out.
Interstellar.
Because they're trying to chart everything as they go. It seems, for where they could stay, or where they can make bases or homes. So it seems like they knew somewhere they could go, but along the way they have to keep kind of an open mind. And the Space Rangers are there to do the dangerous exploration of the planet before the scientists can come in and make their analysis. And I think that that's kind of a cool idea. This idea of like it's very like Star Trek exploration sense, but like if Star Trek had a like Indiana Jones type team that's ready to like get into action if it's need be when they go down to explore first, and then pull the information back so that the scientists can get on the ground.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Anything else? We want to rate it.
Mag's in the chat saying that old school sounds of AOL and blowing air into a cartridge feels refreshing.
Oh, as soon as he took that and blew, I was like, oh, Ben's gonna love that.
Yeah, me too. All right. Final thoughts or rate? Who wants to go first?
I'm gonna rate it a 7.5. I think it's very good. Wish it was better.
Sure.
Ben or Sparks?
All right. I'll say it's a solid 8. I do agree it's not like super high up there in the Pixar echelon for me, but I still had a good time. Maybe if I once I do watch it again, I'll probably have a different opinion about it. All the things you guys said, the negatives definitely are valid. Like the more I think about it, it's like, yeah, the whole Zurg thing is kind of a bit of a cop out. Like, how did he get this suit?
I wish it wasn't valid, Ben. I really do.
I know. But I would stop. But I still had a really good time with this movie, so I'd still say it's a solid 8.
Beautiful.
All right, cool. Sparks?
Yeah, I think it could have been like it's not necessarily the grand Space Ranger adventure I would have envisioned. I think in many ways, like my biggest like knock maybe about the movie is that it almost demands a sequel to me. And I kind of wish it didn't. Not because like I don't think that would be good. I would love to see a sequel. I just wish I didn't feel like it demanded one. That I felt like I got full service of things in this film, and I'm like I got close. I agree with like a lot of the criticisms we were saying earlier. I'm not going to berate through them, but like I think they're there. I just think like the charm of Chris Evans as Buzz and Kiki Palmer as Izzy, and like the lesson as ham-fisted as it is in the way that it goes, that Buzz has to learn really works for me as a storytelling point. So I go with 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm the same. I will go with an 8 out of 10. Much the same reasons. I had a good time in this one. I think it's a solid sci-fi film. I do wish it was a 9 out of 10, but an 8 out of 10 is not too bad.
If they had to make this movie smaller and safer to give them the opportunity to make like a real ass like big space opera for the next one, and like that is the trajectory, then I'm happy for it. I just like the hype around this movie, and it's like the first that's this kind of thing of like we're going into the universe of Toy Story, and I'm like I just like kind of expected more. And again, it's not a bad movie, but I'm just like I feel like this is the one they should have put all of their baskets in, and it feels very conventional. As opposed to something like a Turning Red or a Soul, where it's like wild and incredibly inventive and like I just found it to be like conventional in a way that I didn't expect for a Pixar movie. Which again, it's supposed to be a '90s action movie, but even then, I don't feel like it's a 1995 made action movie. I feel like it's a 2022 Pixar movie. You know what I mean? Like that aspect of it, I didn't buy either. If this was like a '90s like Shane Black '90s like action comedy, hell yeah, that'd be dope. But that's not what that is. This is a Pixar movie that came out in 2022.
It's mostly trying to be Mission to Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. All right, so shall we book club? It's getting late. Shall we book club? I'll leave it up to you guys.
That's up to y'all. I'm here.
I mean, I'd rather. I'm not going to be here next week to talk about it. So
all right, let's book club it up.